So, welcome to the third day of Project Edward, and we've got a very special day ahead today. We've got the launch of the Kent County Council Vision Zero project, and leading on that project is Rory McMullen, who's the Casualty Reduction Manager for Kent County Council. Rory, we've got an amazing event here today. There's so many people. I know you've put so much effort into this. Why have you done it, and what have you got to show us today?
Okay, Simon. Well, this is the launch, as you say, of Vision Zero strategy. So this is the strategy to try and get to zero by 2050. And zero, that means fatalities. So we want to get rid of all the fatalities in Kent. Now, today, the whole purpose of this event is to bring people together. We can't do this alone. People always ask Kent County Council, can you do this? Can you do that? We want a speed camera. What we want to do is say, together we can do something. Alone, we're going to be less effective. So it's about bringing people together. We've got Thatcher Research, we're demonstrating safer vehicles. We've got safer behaviours. We've got safer all of the safe system demonstrating, including safe speed, so Genoptic with average speed cameras. And ISA out that side, intelligent speed assistance. I suppose this is what it's about, is demonstrating in practical sense what a safe system is. Yeah. So it's bringing people together, the partnership, we've got the police, we've got the fire brigade, so really all of our partners are here today, and it's an opportunity to meet each other, talk about how we're going to deliver Vision Zero. And I think what's probably one of the most interesting things is about the advance of technology that's coming forward. I think you'll see in a moment the demonstration of autonomous emergency braking systems. That's easy for you to say. Yeah, AEB is easier than actually saying it in full. But that sort of technology is going to be mainstream pretty soon. It's already there, but I think we're going to see a lot more vehicles having these sorts of driver assistance systems on them. And that's going to make our roads safer. And straightforwardly, we went out to consultation on our strategy. We asked the public what they think, and the public is pretty much unanimous in that 70% or more strongly approve of our ambition to eliminate road deaths. They strongly approve of us looking at speed limits and lowering speed limits in places where people live. So it's now a question of how can we achieve this. And I think the one issue that we always have is a lack of funding. But the answer to that, the only answer, is being more clever with how we do things, and that's partnership. So that's what this event's about.
And I think it's fantastic. Seeing the engagement and everybody working together on this project is fantastic. And I know you've got some of those people giving talks and participating in panel discussions this afternoon, and we're going to be streaming that live. So lots of good stuff to look forward to on that.
I'm looking forward to the conference bit as well. That starts at 12:30. So, and looking forward to you speaking as well, Simon.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Rory. I'll let you get on because I know you've got a ton of stuff to do. Thank you.
It's about people staying safe, concentrating on what they're doing, and thinking about the problems there can be on the roads.
Right, one of the main events at today's Kent County Council Vision Zero launch is a series of demonstrations of active safety technology on vehicles, and I'm here with Thatcher Research's Director of Research, Matthew Avery. Matthew, what are we going to be seeing today?
Well, for safer roads, we need safer drivers, we need safer road design, and we need safer cars. And this is all about safer cars. And this is about technology being fitted to cars like AEB, autonomous emergency braking. Now, here's a demonstration of a vehicle with a brand new system, which is a reverse AEB system. You know, cars have got very poor vision at the back now. You can see driver reversing, car will automatically brake. Now, that could be a car, so that's your no claims bonus gone, but that could also be a child or a pedestrian. So these technologies are really important. And we don't just want AEB on cars. Lots of cars have got AEB now. We're now encouraging manufacturers to fit it onto vans. So this is a van behind you that's got an AEB system. And of course, that's really, really important. We're seeing so many new vans on the road now with deliveries around, COVID, people staying at home. But so many of these vehicles have got none of the technology on that cars have got. And finally, we've got a big truck here because trucks have got some AEB systems, but there's an awful lot of problems, road casualties with pedestrians. So this truck has got a lot of sensors down the side. It's got a lane keeping system that's really going to keep people safe, and we're going to reduce road casualties with vehicle technology.
Fantastic. Thank you, Matthew. I'll come back to you later. We'll look at some of the demonstrations in action, and hopefully you can give us a little bit of description as to what's going on with them.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm Sarah Honer, and I'm a research consultant at AECOM, and at the moment I am working on the National Motorcycle Safety Framework implementation for National Highways.
Why have you been appointed by National Highways?
At AECOM, we're the world's trusted infrastructure consulting firm, and our track record in this area is pretty extensive. We've been producing the annual casualty report for the SRN for almost a decade, and with that kind of knowledge of the incidents on the network, we've had a deeper understanding of the issues related to motorcycle safety through our previous task, which was developing a gap analysis, which then informed this safety framework. So we worked collaboratively with National Highways when they were writing their framework.
Let's just look at the background and how motorcycling has developed over the past couple of decades.
Motorcycle traffic has increased over the last 25 years by about 17%, and particularly in the past year with COVID and everything, people are looking for a sustainable method of personal travel as an alternative to public transport. But even though they're only 0.3% of the vehicle miles travelled on the SRN, motorcyclists account for about 17% of the total killed or seriously injured casualties. So there's a massive discrepancy there, which is what we're trying to look at. So we're aiming to improve collaboration with road safety partnerships to highlight these issues, implement sort of timely campaigns, all aiming to reduce the number of motorcycle related incidents, which will help National Highways with their kind of ultimate aim, which is that no one's killed or injured on the SRN by 2040. And more specifically, to help them reduce the number of killed and seriously injured casualties by 50% by 2025.
It must be very difficult to have a one-size-fits-all kind of framework, simply because there are so many different types of powered two-wheeler and very many different types of user of powered two-wheelers, the sort of riders that are on the bikes. So how do you make something that can work for all of them?
Starting with our previous task with this gap analysis, we very quickly found there really isn't this one size fits all. There's somebody who likes to go out on a Sunday morning in beautiful countryside on their motorcycle is not the same kind of user as somebody who maybe works in the gig economy, works for a food delivery service, and is using that bike for their job. So they're going to have different training needs, different campaigns that maybe appeal to them, different media that they consume. So you really have to make sure that you have something that's personalized and appeals to particular groups. So you can try and categorize people to an extent, but you're not going to get something that's sort of homogenous, one motorcycle user.
With that in mind then, what would success look like for you?
So our sort of ultimate high level aim, we want safer journeys for all. We want less disruption and congestion on the road with fewer breakdowns. We want to reduce the costs from incident clearances and repairs, reduce the risk to road users. More specifically, with this framework, we want increased collaboration with the members of the National Motorcycle Working Group and our other key stakeholders. We want some focused compliance activities, working with our strategic partners like the DVSA, like the National Police Chiefs Council, the National Fire Chiefs Council, and sort of the local police forces. And we want some focused communication activity through a Riding for Better Business programme.
So what we've done is we managed to purchase a number of new lightweight devices. As Steve mentioned, one of the biggest problems previously with the equipment that we had was that it was very bulky, very heavy, and was getting old. So we've managed to use some funding to buy some new lightweight, high-tech equipment that people can use out on the roads to help educate speeders to slow down and be safe.
And I hear there's a contribution sort of from Endors courses and that sort of thing that's come towards this.
Yeah, part of the contribution is from Endors, so that's funding the bulk of the new equipment, but it's also an opportunity for communities, councillors, other councils to fund some more equipment so we can get the message wider out there.
Okay, thinking wider from today, there's so many messages to get out there, so many different road safety messages, so many audiences to target. How are you prioritising and what are you looking to sort of target over the next year or so?
Well, the way that we target is to use evidence. So we very much statistical evidence based to look at the fatal four and the big issues that suffer in the Cleveland area. As I say, we've identified speeding as our number one concern. A third of all road deaths over the last 5 years have been caused by speeding vehicles. So that is our number one priority for the next year ahead. And we're going to go big on speeding and try and tackle that as a big issue.
Okay, and COVID, I mean, you've got strategic partnerships, you've got meetings, yes, we've got Zoom, but there's this practical stuff as well. How's it affected it and what are you doing to work around it?
Well, I think initially, obviously, it made it very difficult, lots of other priorities to compete with, but I think it's just brought us all back stronger together. You know, we're absolutely determined to tackle this. We're working with everybody together, and while it, as I say, put a little bit of an issue into it to start with, we're coming back stronger now and really want to tackle these issues together as a big partnership.
So Steve Johnson, you're the strategic lead for road safety here for the Fire Brigade. Why is it important to have events like this?
It's extremely important. What it does is it brings the audience into the event. We can all provide advice. This brings home the education aspect and puts it into a personal perspective that people can understand in an anticipation of changing their behaviours.
And other than my two other guests here, who have you had here today?
We've had all the partners and some members of the community who've come in, which has been fantastic to see. And again, putting that into the education context, it's about that consequence education. Okay, so we can provide the upfront education around the speeding. This is around putting it into real life terms and showing people if you don't slow down, if you are still distracted, if you are, and all of those issues that cause those accidents under the fatal four, in the causational factors, this is what you're going to end up with, getting cut out of your car, hopefully not killed, but we see the stats on those fatalities and serious injuries, and again it comes back to that personal change of behaviour. That's what we're trying to achieve.
So I'm here at Middlesbrough Community Fire Station where we have the launch of Community Speedwatch by the Cleveland Police, and we also have support from the Cleveland Strategic Road Safety Partnership. We've also got an extrication display which you may be able to see part of behind me by the local fire and rescue crews. Now with me, three illustrious guests who are going to talk to us about different aspects of their role in road safety here in the county. And first of all, the Police and Crime Commissioner, Steve Turner. Thanks for joining us first of all.
No, thanks for having me.
No, you're very welcome. So in terms of importance, let's be honest, where does the incidence of speeding in particular sit on your list of priorities?
Speeding probably sits up there as one of the major things that I get in my inbox on a daily basis. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're a community, whether you're near a school, whether you live near a main road, you often see incidents of speeding, and people are worried about safety, worried about the safety of their children and their parents and things like that. So it's definitely well up there.
Good. And how much of a contribution do you see Community Speedwatch in particular making to road safety in the county?
I think it's brilliant because what it does is it empowers the community to go out and do something themselves. And that again is sometimes just that letter that drops through your door that says, do you know what, you were coming through your town or your this village and you were speeding. It makes you think, and if it makes you think, it makes you slow down.
What have you, from what you've seen and heard over the last couple of hours, what have been the highlights for you? What's really stood out?
I think watching the Community Speedwatch stuff, the fact that we're going to get some new equipment here in Cleveland is fantastic. I've seen the old stuff, I've used the old stuff, and it's not user friendly. So the new stuff, I'm really looking forward to see happen.
Good. I've got to ask you a political question. You knew I would. Do you think you've got sufficient resources from central government to do what you need?
Yeah, I think we have. I think it's about how we use the resources. It's not always about the cost of things, it's about the value and what we do with the resources we have got until we get the most bang for our buck.
So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the social media for Project Edward's Hub. Our nerve centre this morning. Thank you there to Neil for his updates from Middlesbrough Fire Station yesterday when he was in Cleveland yesterday afternoon. And but here we're going to have a quick look at the social media figures for yesterday. Overnight on Twitter, we were in the region of 30.8 million impressions on Twitter alone. Obviously, we have other facts and figures coming through from Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But Twitter has always been our primary communication channel for Project Edward, and it's doing exceptionally well. But we can put the slide up for this morning, and this morning you can see that with Project Edward, and also including a lot more messages now that are coming through for Safe Speeds 24, that our impression count has gone up to 34.6 million. So we're still well on track to match or better our figures from last year. You can see also on there that we've had now over 5,000 tweets with the Project Edward hashtag in them from over 1,300 people. So 1,300 accounts tweeting towards the Project Edward cause and sharing our message. So what we can do is we can change that picture now to show you some of our contributors, because this is really quite interesting, because you can make a difference by supporting Project Edward. You can make a difference. And so what we've got here is our top contributors, and you can see I'm just looking away from the screen so I can read the figures to you, so I'm not looking directly at you, but you can see there that Traffic Scotland there, who've been putting out some really great, very simple, visual, informative tweets, have had a potential impression there of 8.6 million all by themselves, which is fantastic. And as we scroll down, there's some great accounts there looking at how much reach they've put and how many tweets they've put out. But if you look for the likes of Traffic Scotland, they've put 28 tweets out with 8.6 million reach. But then if you scroll down to number 5, the Fédération Internationale de I can never get that out. Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, 700,000, but with one tweet. And it's because it's based on their follower count. But what I want to draw your attention to a little bit further down is D Harford 79. We mentioned Dave yesterday and we put his tweet up on the screen. And that was because he put a really good tweet out. But you can see Dave has had nearly 600,000 impressions, but he's tweeted 43 times. And so the difference is that he's really engaged and really in with Project Edward and sharing lots of messages about it. So if you share messages with the Project Edward hashtag, you can come up our list because it's all about your accumulative count. So that, you know, there are people there who've shared a lot of messages who are on the list, and there are people there who've only shared a few because they've got a very big following. And because of Safe Speeds 24, our our impression count is going up quite high this morning. Some big hitters coming in. Greater Manchester Police came in with Safe Speeds 24 this morning that brought 588,000 impressions to our tally, which is excellent. And we just hope that Greater Manchester Police and other big accounts keep tweeting for us throughout the day. The only other thing that we've got for you today is that it is our tweet of the day coming from Tuesday. So we selected 6 tweets from yesterday that we thought were the best. And then the road trip team have had a look at those overnight. The tweets were from Wiltshire Road Safety, the Cleveland Fire Brigade, who Neil was talking to just a moment ago, Merseyside Road Safety, the North Yorkshire Police Traffic Bureau, Dave Harford, who seems to be coming up a lot, his name there. And we also make mention for Traffic Scotland because they came up in the tweet of the day list yesterday and on Monday. So they're really putting some good content out. So there's a highly commended for Traffic Scotland. But the winner today, which we can show on the screen, is Dave Harford. And the reason Dave won and the reason that the teams liked this tweet more than anything else was it was simple, it was visual, it was very topical with what was going on during the day. We were besieged with weather problems yesterday, and Dave was right on the nail with the weather, talking about the weather, dragging the Project Edward hashtag in there, and a really simple, quite done on the fly image, but really illustrated the point that that car is invisible. It's got no lights on and you cannot see it. So we thought that was a great tweet, really pro road safety, and well done to Dave for that. So on that note, that's all from the social media hub this morning. But what we're going to do now is that Project Edward wouldn't happen without the huge amount of support that we get from some fantastic sponsors. So here's a few messages of support from some of our sponsors.
Webfleet Solutions is delighted to be the telematics partner for Project Edward in 2021. We both share the same ambitions, which is to have safer roads for everyone to drive in the UK. And we look forward to the coming weeks and months where we demonstrate how key driving data and analysis can help everyone achieve this.
Hi, I'm Chris Spinks. I'm Managing Director of Wescotec Traffic Safety Systems Company, and we've been supporting Project Edward for the last 4 years. Join us for a week of action in September so we can work together to achieve 0 road deaths every day.
Yes, at Hatchet Pond in the New Forest, the purpose of this road trip car's visit here is to join Hampshire Police with Thames Valley Police as they do a joint operation on speed for National Safe Speeds Day. It's a lovely morning and I'm with PC Liz Johnson. Liz, come over here and let's just have a chat. How's it going so far this morning?
Well, fortunately, most drivers are behaving and are staying within the speed limit, which is great.
Tell me a little bit about the particular issues in this area.
Well, obviously the New Forest has lots of ponies, horses, pigs and other free-range animals that are running around. And as I've seen already this morning, they have no road sense whatsoever. They're running around, enjoying themselves and just trotting across the road, which is why it's really important that drivers are fully aware, slow down and potentially protect their environment.
What do you say to people who say, well, look, I was only 5 miles over the limit?
Well, sadly, if you're even 5 miles over the limit, you are travelling at a lot more distance. And for example, I think at 30 mile an hour, if you were travelling at 35, you travel another 20 metres and you would potentially hit a person still at 8 miles an hour. So with animals walking out in front of you, cyclists on the road, pedestrians enjoying walking, if you're going too fast, then you potentially aren't going to be able to stop, you're not going to be able to react in time, and therefore you may end up hitting them, which none of us want to do.
what's happening here today to drivers who are detected over the speed limit?
So any drivers that are over the speed limit today are being brought to the Hatchet Pond car park, where they will be educated by our partners from the New Forest Road Safety Awareness Team and also the verderers. They will engage with the drivers and just explain to them the reasons why it's 14 miles per hour. They would actually prefer you to drive a much slower. And if you were to drive, say, at 30 miles per hour, you're only actually adding 3 minutes to your journey. So you're not adding that much time at all, but you're slowing down and you're paying more attention and also enjoying the road in which you're travelling on.
Liz Johnson, thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Trevor Hall, Managing Director of Road Safety Support. Today marks Safe Speeds Day, which is occurring during Project Edward. We are very pleased to see so many police forces and road safety stakeholders across the UK embrace this campaign. Together we are united by a common goal to reduce death and injury on our roads. Families should not be torn apart by something that can be prevented. It is up to each road user to take responsibility and drive or ride within the law. We know that enforcement is an effective tool to help us to achieve compliance with the speed limits, ultimately reducing collisions. We are looking forward to seeing today's results, and we hope that together we can have a really positive day.
We're in the New Forest at Hatchet Pond as an operation by Hampshire and Thames Valley Police continues on National Safe Speeds Day. With me now is Alan Hiscox from the British Horse Society. Alan, come along and let's have a chat. Why are you here at Hatchet Pond?
Well, to support Project Edward, because there are far too many incidents on the roads with cars passing horses too fast or too close, and it's intimidating for horses and riders. And 46 horses killed on the roads last year, is far too high a figure. And of course, in the New Forest, there's our ponies and donkeys and horses that are getting killed by vehicles.
Isn't the solution to keep the horses off the road?
Well, that's a point that's often made to me, but horses have to go from one bridleway to another bridleway, so they're on the roads. They don't want to be there, the riders don't want to be there, and obviously in the New Forest, they are able to roam around as feral ponies. So it's a very difficult argument but there's not enough safe rough road access for horse riders.
You were involved yesterday with another police force in Operation Close Pass. What's that all about, and what were your experiences with traffic on a wet Tuesday morning that yesterday was?
Okay, there's lots of close pass operations taking place, but the one yesterday was in Sussex, and this is where a rider goes out on the road and there's police motorbikes either end of the road, and when a car passes too fast or too close, a message is sent and the drivers are brought back to a vehicle where they're told about our Dead Slow campaign. I actually was quite encouraged by the number of cars that really did pass us at a maximum of 15 miles an hour, 2 metres distance. There were 2 or 3, maybe a bit more than that, were taken back who didn't know the messages, but they were educated by Sussex Police. But I was actually quite encouraged on those conditions, a cold sort of wet day, that drivers really were taking care.
Alan, thank you, and thank you to British Horse Society for your support of Project Edward. I'm now going to talk to Rachel Terry, who as it says on her jacket, is Mounted Rural Patrol. That sounds quite exciting. Tell me what Mounted Rural Patrol requires you to do.
Well, I'm volunteer for Hampshire Constabulary, and we go out and about down tracks and things like that, bridleways and anywhere that police cars cannot go. So we report back to our local neighbourhood team, and we advise any fly tipping, any travellers that could be in the area, any potential hazards, anything like that. And yeah, so we are literally eyes and ears where officers can't go in their cars.
Tell me about your horse riding career then. When did you first get on a horse?
I was 2, and I saw somebody in a car park with a white Shire horse, and apparently I ran up to him and said, "Can I have a go, please?" And he did. He let me up there. So yes, I've been in the saddle since about 2.5. So yes, and my daughter, bless her, she's also taken on the role of doing that. So yeah.
And how do you feel generally? Do you ride on the road? Do you need to ride on the road? Snoopy.
Sorry.
That's Snoopy the Cocker Spaniel, so apologies for that. Back to Rachel.
Yeah, so part of riding we have to go from A to B, as Alan explained. So yes, we don't like to be on the roads at the best of time, but it's a necessity of leaving your yard to go out to wherever you're riding and to find the nearest off-road that you can get to.
Brilliant. Thank you, Rachel, Terry. Thank you, Snoopy, for being quite good. And thank you to Alan Hiscox from the British Horse Society.
The Evo Triangle is a nickname for a stunningly beautiful stretch of road in North Wales, where the A5 connects with the B4501 and the A543 on the edge of Snowdonia. But to those who live close by, and to police and local authorities, the stunningly beautiful route has attracted too many risk-taking drivers and has seen an unacceptable number of fatal and serious collisions. The last piece of work to complete an average speed camera installation on the route was completed in April 2021. But why the need for an average speed camera system? Chief Inspector John Aspinall of North Wales Police takes up the story.
The ethos behind it for us essentially is to reduce casualties on the roads and make the roads safer for the people travelling on them and the people living in the area. The attractiveness of the roads, the publication behind the use of the roads meant that obviously there was an influx of people to the area. For some areas it's needed, it's wanted, the tourism is important. However, some of the driving that was being experienced on the roads isn't welcome. It's dangerous and to be quite frank, some local members of the community were coming across things that they should never see in their lives, some people that were seriously injured with limbs missing. It's not something that we want members of our community to ever see, and it can have an impact on individuals and wider communities as a whole.
The contract to install the cameras was awarded to Unoptic following a competitive tender process involving both Denbighshire and Conwy councils. Fundamentally, it's an average speed solution, as Jeff Collins from Unoptic explains.
So it uses ANPR to detect a vehicle as it drives past each of the camera locations, and then a calculation of speed can be made between different locations, either locations that are next to each other or further apart.
As well as the yellow poles with the cameras, there are silver poles which house infrared lighting units.
And the advantage of the infrared lighting units is that there is no white puddle or dazzling flash of light 24 hours a day. So it means the system is effective and operational through all day, all hours, all weathers.
Putting the cameras at the side of the road is only one part of a joined-up effort that seeks to improve engagement with road users and communities, as Go Safe Wales Partnership Manager Teresa Charno explains.
We engage with the communities in a variety of ways. So we have special operations where we engage with school children, and we have our roads policing colleagues pull in vehicles across the road and they have the opportunity to engage with children. We're very active on social media. We've got Twitter and Instagram account, and we use that for a variety of messages, both in terms of liaising with our partners, but also to communicate where we are, because the more we tell people where we are, the more likely we are that people will slow down. And our best cameras are where we catch nobody speeding, because there's compliance, therefore reducing risk on the road. So we would love everybody to get involved in Go Safe on Twitter and Instagram, and we've got a legacy project as well, which gives a voice to people bereaved by road death, but also for people involved in serious collisions that have affected their lives really, and we just want to tell that story from a personal point of view, as opposed to just our point of view as the people who deal with the end result.
How does Chief Inspector Aspinall respond to the people who say another good fun road has been ruined by the cameras?
We don't feel as if we're ruining roads, we're making them safer. We encourage people to come to North Wales. It's a beautiful place. We want people to be here, we want them to enjoy it, but we want them to enjoy it safely, and we don't want to affect people's families and relatives and friends.
And what advice does Jeff Collins offer any authority considering a similar installation?
I would always recommend people to investigate what it is they're trying to achieve, what they want good to look like, and then talk to somebody that has experience in delivering this type of solution that will work. Because from the more than 200 average speed routes we've installed across the UK, they uniformly deliver a benefit in behaviour, a reduction in casualties where there's been a casualty history to start with. So clarity on what you want and good and effective design are absolutely key.
We're shortly departing Hatchet Pond. We've had a very interesting morning here in beautiful weather. I'd rather stay here all day and enjoy the scenery. Sadly, not possible because we have to be heading on to Bracknell in Berkshire. But before we go, there's a couple of people I would like to introduce you to. And one is Robert Mayton. Now, Robert, come over here. You are an agister. There are agisters and verderers, neither of which I know anything about. But in the New Forest, they're quite important people. So what do agisters in the New Forest do?
It's our job in the forest to look after the free roaming animals that are owned by the commoners. The verderers employ the agisters to do that, and they look after and safeguard the rights in the forest.
Let's talk about the safety of the animals who have the right to roam, kind of thing. Do you have experience of when things have gone wrong because cars have been going too fast?
I'm afraid all too many experiences, I'm afraid. Mostly in the hours of darkness we get called out when people have hit these animals. Some of them are lying in the road, obviously with broken legs, broken backs, and we have to put them down. Some have broken legs, which we then have to deal with them, which are much harder because they're on the move.
Presumably it's not always the case that it's just speeding motorists to blame for it. I mean, sometimes these things just happen because of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Do you have measures that mitigate the risk of collisions, like, I don't know, putting high-vis vests on the animals? Is that possible?
We do have the reflective collars, which the owners can put on their animals if they so wish. Most of them do. Obviously they only work at night because they're reflective, and there is also unfortunately still too many accidents that happen through the hours of daylight.
Thank you very much, Robert. Let me bring in Charlotte Belcher now, so we'll probably just meet just here. Hello, Charlotte. So you are with Forestry England. What's your role here?
So I'm the community manager for the New Forest, and I manage the New Forest Ranger team.
What does that require you to do? And let's talk about the road safety element of that.
So our rangers are out and about in the forest all the time, engaging with visitors to make sure that they're using the forest responsibly, and obviously road safety would come into part of that, although we don't do a lot of work on the roads. We'll be mainly around the car parks and the cycle routes and talking to people about their behaviour. A big problem for us is the parking on the roads as well, so we deal with a lot of the verge parking issues, because obviously where we've got vehicles in places where we don't want them to be parked, you do have the issue of livestock moving out between them, and there isn't great visibility for drivers coming in. If they are speeding, obviously there's more likely to be a collision there as well. So a lot of what we do is try to keep those roads clear by lessening that verge parking issue. We've also got the New Forest keepers who work for Forestry England, and they're responsible for dealing with any accidents to do with deer on the road, so much the same as the agisters would do for the livestock. They have an involvement with road traffic accidents involving the deer and any wild animals.
Now, you were talking a few minutes ago to what we might call a customer, someone who was brought in from going a little bit quick on the road. What sort of attitude did he have? Were you able to talk to him and kind of get the message across? Was he receptive?
I think that was somebody who was aware that what they were doing was wrong. I think it's always interesting to see whether they will change their behaviour as a result of an interaction like this. I think the reason given today was that they were trying to overtake two slower moving vehicles because they obviously needed to get somewhere, and they were used to using this road, and they thought they knew the risk was low to them, so it wasn't going to be a problem to overtake people who were driving slowly. And there was a bit of an attitude of, or sometimes people who drive slowly obviously don't know what they're doing, or they're poor drivers, but that's just not the case in the forest. We obviously have a speed limit of 40 in a lot of places, and that is a limit, but we would ask people to travel slower than that and to drive to the conditions. So if you've got a pony standing by the side of the road, we wouldn't want you to be passing it at 40 or possibly even at 30 miles an hour. It really is a case of just being vigilant and keeping an eye.
Charlotte, thank you so much, and Robert, thank you very much. That's just about all that we have time for here. It is a bit breezy, so we've had some trouble keeping our Edward banner, so could I just get somebody who's standing behind it to reveal themselves so we can thank you for keeping our banner upright? It's Liz Johnson from Thames Valley Police, who's taken a break from talking to motorists just to keep our banner up. Keep our spirits up, and that's the end of our little visit to Hatchet Pond.
So that's it for this morning's broadcast. Don't forget, very shortly we'll be having the live broadcast of the Road Safety Conference that's part of the KCC Vision Zero launch here today. That's starting at 12:30. All the podcasts are available on the website. You can download from the website or from wherever you normally download your podcast. And don't forget to follow us on all our normal social media channels. That's it for this morning. We'll see you later on today. Thank you.